More, a little bit more.
The laptop is up because I'm doing two laptops at the same time.
No, but I'm saying bring it up a little bit more.
Up.
You look fine to me.
I'm good.
Okay, your head is there, like a lot of space between your head and
What? Roger, it's the same one as me.
Roger, get
You
good,
see,
man.
it's
Get
good.
You can't see me.
I can
We're
see
live
him.
now,
I know
though.
I can see him. All right, let's go.
Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Village Radio Talk Show. I am Roderick Daly, your host. Joining me on screen is our beautiful co-hostess, added an ES, T. Beautiful co-host, Tess, uh, Dr. Joanne Bryan, and our other co-host will be joining us in a little bit. Welcome to the Village Radio Talk Show in 2024. I just want to say we are dedicated and will continue to be dedicated to empowering the community to live a safe and healthy life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. Where its success is not just spoken, it is done. And so, Dr. Bryant, I want to start off the year
With a scripture?
in a positive way.
Okay.
Scripture. I did not prepare one today, but I am going to give one immediately.
Okay.
Um,
Good evening, and good evening, everyone.
I'm going to go to the book of Psalms. I love me some Psalms, and we're going to go to Psalms 20. I'm going to read a few verses
Okay.
from verse 1. Let me get my eyes because the regular ones are going. So I'm getting additional ones from to the chief musician, a psalm of David. The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob defend thee. Send thee help from the sanctuary and strengthen thee out of Zion. Remember all thy offerings and accept thy burnt sacrifice. Grant thee according to thine own heart and fulfill all thy counsel. We will rejoice in salvation, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners. The Lord fulfill all thy petitions. Selah. Right? And so we thank you. And thank God for all of these words, and again, rejoice in His salvation. So a couple of things that has happened over. Hey, Jack, and I'll make sure I tell John that Bobby and everybody else say hello. So thank you for joining us, Jack, and thank you everyone who's joined us here on The Village in 2024. Looking forward to all of these things that we'll be discussing this year. And the first thing I want to start talking about is ideas of resolution, right? I want a New Year's resolution. Every year, people make resolutions. 99.9% of the time, they don't carry it out. And why do you think that is, Dr. Bryant? Why do you think that that we don't carry out our New Year's resolution?
I think some resolutions that people make are unrealistic. You know, a lot of people want things, but are not committed to the process. That anything worth having is not easy. Sometimes you got to put a little extra into it. So it looks good on the outside, but are we willing to sacrifice? That's the key thing. Are we willing to stay the course? So just like marriage and doing a degree or something, it's you know, you're gonna hit some bumps, you're gonna hit some hard time, but if you're dedicated to the process, guess what? At the end, you'll get your certificate, you'll get your degree, or you'll stay married.
So I have two words that I want to share with people: the word smart and the word focus. Those things would allow for whatever resolution that you're making, if you make a resolution, to come to fruition. Let's start with the first word. And the same words apply to success. The same words apply to creating an opportunity for whatever success you want. And completing your resolution is a goal, is a form of success. So those two words are, again, they're smart and focus. So let's talk about smart. SMART, put it all in capital letters. Smart means you're setting a smart resolution or a smart goal. It means be very specific, right? So I want to lose weight. I want to save some money. I want to make an investment. I want to start a business, right? I want to revamp my life and my relationships, right? Smart goal. Be very specific. Don't be so broad. I want to be involved in the music industry. That's too broad, right? Because there are many aspects of the music industry. I want to be a teacher. What kind of teacher you want to be? Be very specific. I want to teach elementary school. I want to teach high school. I want to teach middle school. I want to be an English teacher. I want to be a math teacher. I want to, be very specific. Measurable, right? Measurable that's very simple, right? You could see things happening. You could say, okay, this movement. Attainable. Is this dream attainable? Now, I hear a lot of times people go, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. That's always the big resolution, right? You can't make a resolution about losing weight and that kind of weight if you don't go to the gym. You don't like the gym. You don't like to sweat. You like to sit down and watch television. That's not realistic. Saying that I'm going to start going to the gym and go once a week, that's probably more realistic.
But also your diet plays a part
And
in
the diet as well, right? I have to cut out certain things out of my diet. Don't make drastic changes, because drastic changes will affect your psyche, will affect your ability to get things done. And sometimes most times when you make drastic changes, you regress, right? Because your mind is not used to it. You only make drastic changes when you have to. For example, if you have a health situation and you got to stop, then you stop. Make sure that the goal, the resolution is attainable and it's realistic, right? It can happen, right? And it's timely. Set a specific timeline. By such and such a time, I will. And you set incremental times, over the year. And focus. Focus means first things first, right? So if you make a dream, put it first, right? O means other things last. So you put everything else to the side and focus on what your resolution is going to be. C is to cut out the unnecessary things. Like, if you want to lose weight, don't go to the candy store and buy 16 candy, buy one, right? If you want to save money, stop going out everywhere and pretend like you are the dandada and spend buying everybody rounds of drinks. You're not going to save any money because you're going to be broke, right? U means unify behind that vision, right? So whatever that vision is, whatever goal is, get behind it, get working. And then S is stick to it, right? So be focused and be smart. And most times, if you do those two things, you'll accomplish a lot of your goals. And again, Happy New Year to all my villagers. And thank you for joining us as we start talking about New Year's resolution. I didn't make one, Dr. Brian, for this year. I didn't know where to start to make one. So I didn't, everything I could think of is like, oh, what can I do with it? Hey, Kareem, how you doing? When we going out, Kareem?
Kareem,
when we going out, let's or when you coming by to visit, let me, we could talk off here. Come visit me, come say hello, and then we could hang out for a little bit. You could actually bring Dr. Brian, maybe. I don't know, just let the boys hang out. Leave Dr. Brian out of it. All right.
Good.
So that's one thing when we think about New Year's resolution. Any tips for the new year that you want to impart?
I not make any resolution at all. And look, there's your response.
I see it. I want to see the response on my phone though, Kareem. I want to see the response like a date. I'm on the air asking a man for a date. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very secure,
You're
right?
not asking for a date. You just hang it out.
Just hit me in the cell phone.
You missed our hangout time, so you want to make up.
I didn't say hangout. I said my date because you're not invited. Just me and him.
Okay, all right.
So what are some of your ideas?
I didn't make any resolution. I didn't, because the thing is,
or any advice? Like what do you think about?
Well, this year, every year I'm focused, but this year
I'm talking about villagers, man. I don't care what you are.
I know, but you know what? Right now,
are you like a Gemini? Like to include yourself in stuff? You and John?
I am a Gemini. You forgot John and I are Geminis,
right? You and John just like to include yourself in stuff. Hey, John! I didn't know I was talking about you. I didn't. So anyway, so what are some of your?
You're muted, John.
Yeah.
I would say be realistic about whatever it is that you do, but every day is a goal. So create a goal for yourself every day.
I like that.
Create
a list.
At the end of the year or the beginning of the year. No, getting up, you want to do something. Hey, I want to accomplish this by the end of today or the end of the week. So it shouldn't have to be a whole new year resolution. Set something for yourself. Motivate yourself.
I like that. Hey, John, Jack says...
You're muted, John. We can't hear you.
John, Jack said that John Bobby Maltz also, right? He says hello. You're muted. You're still muted, John. You're on mute. You're on mute. I guess he can't hear us. Tell him that he's on mute. John, we can't hear you. There you go.
No, you might have to come back in and out. So you might have to log off and come back in. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. I like what you said. I think that's real. Like, right, create to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
You know one thing. I got a WhatsApp video which I want to share. Right. The guy was like, he had 2 cups, and he was like, let's try them again. Right. John, no, you're still muted.
What happened to your phone, man?
What's going on?
You connected to your car? Maybe.
You're muted, John. We can't hear you.
I don't know. That's strange. He's always
right.
Is it set up to your Bluetooth, maybe?
John, we can't hear anything you're saying. John, we can't hear you. Like something is up. Like, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Nope.
very strange.
Andre, give him hit him up, Andre, and tell him maybe he needs to unplug the phone or something like that and see what's going on. Because we can't hear anything he's saying. So so it's something. So are you plugged into the car?
There it is.
There you go, John.
We hear your radio now.
We hear your car radio.
Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market.
Right. And so what I was saying is like he was talking about pouring him in the cup, right? And and just to remind us that like when you pour something in the cup, he took out these 3 cups and he had these 2 cups right here, and he said, remind people, it says when you pour something in 1 cup for somebody, make sure you pour 2 things in there for yourself, so that by the end of the year, right? By the end of the year, you will not be drained out, right? Say
Isn't that nice?
right,
Hello.
right, and so you will not be drained out for the whole year. And so, or as people walk out, you will still have something left in you.
It'll be empty, right?
So, and a lot of times we give so much of ourselves to people that by the time we're drained, right? So I thought it was a good advice. When John come, we have him give his advice for the start of the new year for individuals. See what's going on. Happy New Year, Zakia. Thank you. Oh, my girl Zakia, I'm so proud of her. Dr. Ali, I'm pronouncing it Dr. Ali because she is working in a doctorate. She should be, she's ABD, all but her dissertation, and so she's getting to defend that. So I'm so excited for Zakia. Zakia and I, Barack,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Got you
Hello?
now.
Right.
That's awesome. Can you hear us?
I can hear y'all guys talking gibberish, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Dr. Ali, we did my brother's keeper when we were at Tilden High School.
Okay.
She was at Tilden. I was at My 11. And this is way before Barack Obama became president. And she got motivated. We got all these men, these young men. We had them come to the school, organized, had a whole bunch of stuff to increase the quality of young men in Brooklyn. I brought the program over to My 11. And then all of a sudden I hear Barack Obama coming with my brother's keeper. I heard, no, I'm not serious. Now the DOE, when I left My 11, Underwood took it over like it was his idea. And then DOE was doing it. And thanks to Zakia, we were doing it like early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Getting it done. So,
What is way before My Brother's Keepers conference. That is true.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden people, so kudos Zakia on getting that done and recognizing that as young Black men, we needed to learn to work with each other and help to uplift them. One of the things I did when I did My Brother's Keeper, no visitor was allowed to talk about jail. Nobody was supposed to come in there and talk about jail because I felt like Black men Black boys knew too much about jails already. So when they came in to speak, and I did that for my career day as well. So you had to talk about what are the positive things of the jobs that you are doing. Why do I want to get involved with what you're doing? Salary, income, benefits, family, whatever. But don't talk about them going to jail and blah, 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 all that crap. We didn't want to hear that. You're coming from a community of people who are in jail. Why would you want to? You already know what jail is like,
Welcome, John. Happy New Year to you.
Welcome, Roderick. Welcome, Dr. Bryant. Welcome, Sophia. Welcome, Andre.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
We want to know what are some of your advice for this coming new year.
One of my advices for this coming new year is let's get our house in order. One thing is, as we always talk about health, but we talk about financial health, and we also talk about, just estate health, meaning making sure that you have your will, you have certain things in order, and prepare, financially, for tomorrow, life after work. So those are things, should be some of our goals.
I absolutely, we talk about generational wealth on the show, because
the interest rates will be coming down. So listeners, get our finances together, because interest rates are going to be coming down this year. So we need to take full advantage of when they come down, be able to refinance our mortgages or even buy home for the first time.
Absolutely good advice. Like that. I like that idea. Being a homeowner instead of paying somebody else's mortgage. I like that. It's a good idea.
But also, not only being a homeowner, but also in investing. Put a little. One thing I would recommend, if you do, listeners, if you have some really good, if you have close friends that have the same fiscal acumen as you do, put together a little investment club together and put some money together and try to, invest in buying some properties, or just investment club in purchasing stocks, just to enhance your wealth.
John, my mom is right next to me, and
so Mama said, "Bless up, bless up, bless up."
Yeah, and she loves the idea of the investment club. She was saying that's a great idea to do the investment club.
Yeah, you don't have to invest a lot, but just just getting together, man. Maybe put $100, $200. You guys start investing in some stocks, or just start playing the market a little bit. And then the money that you make, you get it from it. You might get a down payment to buy a piece of land or buy a piece of property. Remember, you don't have to buy everything here in New York now. You can go either upstate, or you can go to places like Detroit, even Iowa, those places, buy a piece of land.
By Pennsylvania, you could go Georgia, a lot of the southern states. If you make, build a nice retirement home that you can rent now, Airbnb it until you might be ready for you to move down there yourself. That's a great idea.
Or not even that. If you're from the Caribbean, you might want to invest in the Caribbean.
There you go. Only place don't do it. Haiti.
Stop giving Ron DeSantis in Florida our money.
Tell me
don't do Haiti in some parts of Jamaica. I'm gonna tell you that up front. Just stay away from those. I said when you're doing the remittance and going back home, building home, stay away from certain parts of Jamaica and certain parts of Haiti, because there's Jamaica. It's funny. Jamaicans and Haitians are even though they speak two separate languages, they both speak Patois, just Patois English, Patois French. And we have a lot of similarities, Dr. Brian, like in terms of behaviors and behavior patterns. But you're right, John. Be cognizant of investment. It's a new year. My motto is do more in 24, right? So let's do more in 24. One of the things that my wife had this thing, and she showed me a small investment. Like Christmas is one of the times where people go broke, overspend, right? Because you're not prepared for it. And she showed me something I thought was cool. So this is week 1 in January. There are 52 weeks in the year, and you're going to put away the money, right, that belongs to that week. So this is week 1. You put in the bank or in the piggy bank $1. Next week is week 2. You put away $2. January 3rd is week 3, right? You put away $3. And the last week of January is week 4. You put away $4. You keep doing that up to all of the year, and then you put it up to how
much you want.
You put it up to how much you want. If you do the whole thing for the whole year, you save $1,378, and you don't see it. But let's say it's only you and your husband, or you and your wife and 2 kids. You might not need $1,000. You might need $800. So you do it up to the point where you need it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I have a whole lot of kids, so I might need the whole, I need the whole thing. I need the whole 1378, right? But I think it's something. I think my wife and I are going to do it. I think we're going to split. I'm gonna split it, so we both, like the burden's not there. And when Christmas time comes, we'll just split the money in two. Because most of the time, what we do anyways, I give her money and we combine the money for the kids. They get this and they get that. But the only difference, she's gonna have to give me some money because now I have to buy her gift. That's all, But I think that's a good idea. So let's do more in 24. So we're good. Some bad things are happening in the news, John. Today it's horrible. Another mass shooting in a school.
Yeah, in Iowa.
Yeah, 7 people got wounded, 2 of them dead.
Wow.
And the shooter killed himself, right? So
Coward.
that's one of the, and the other 6th grader, man. Can you believe that crap?
Who was a 6th grader?
Was a 6th grader.
17, the one who's the shooter.
I guess it was either K-12 school or 6-12 school, but he shot the kids in the elementary school, dog.
He shot his principal too.
Huh?
He shot the principal too.
Right? I mean, what's going on in America, man? What's going on?
So here's something to keep in mind. A lot of time we worry about mass shooters from the outside coming in, but now we have to worry about those inside. Yep. And if you put a lock on, then it's, if you're in a building that's locked up, then it's going to be harder for those. So it's you're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't.
So here's my question. Here's my question, Dr. Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that in vulnerable places, they need to put magnetometers? Vulnerable places are schools, hospitals, museums. Well, museums have it, right? But schools and hospitals, for example, in vulnerable places, universities. Remember, a lot of mass shootings in universities, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Putting security up at these buildings and getting magnetometers at every school. There are 1,300 schools, 1,500 schools in New York City. Should they put, even in the elementary schools, should you put it up? Or does it really scare kids? Again, I tell people all the time when we're on the show and we're discussing these mass shootings, it's always the victim are almost always in mass shootings.
And it was so early in the morning at breakfast.
They can't defend themselves.
Roger, if you mention one thing about, if somebody had a gun or whatever, they're not going to have a gun in the school. But just the FYI, I think overall,
No. That's what I ask. I'm not even going to go, because everybody by now know that I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe that people should be allowed to carry a gun, and you should be able to carry a gun with ease. But you need to have training, and you need to be able to say, hey, if you have a criminal record, a violent criminal record, a felony charge, blah, blah, blah.
Or if you have mental illness, that would make sense.
I'm saying
We're not checking that. It's all about
if they have that, able to do a psychological piece. Sometimes you can't find it, but because they can just snap. But if you can find the mental, the physical danger, then they should not be allowed to have a gun. So, but everybody knows that I believe in the Second Amendment.
Moving right along.
What I'm saying is, in schools, in vulnerable places, schools, hospitals, do you think that they should put up a magnetometer that
I definitely do.
Are you walking into the school?
I'm there now 100%, because the thing is, it's enough. Enough is enough. Nothing is being done on the other side. I'm sorry for the parents who feel, I don't want to feel as though, my child's in jail or whatever, but it's better that you have your child than worrying about, hey, they're feeling criminalized. It's better that your child exit safely and get home safely, come into the school safely without having to worry, oh my God, there's a massive shoot. So no matter what, you're not going to please everybody, but safety first, come first. Hospital, you don't know people's psyche. You don't know how, this young man left home feeling a certain way, came prepared. a certain way. And hey, at breakfast, 9 something in the morning, kids are getting shot at. You know,
Mm,
people dying at 9 something in the morning.
mm,
So
mm, mm.
I don't want to hear, you know, like my son's school is asking, hey, how do you feel about scanners? Bring it on. Because that way there's a sense of peace or some form of exhale that you can do. At least you know they tried every way possible to keep everybody safe.
Right,
Because
right.
John, I got a question for you because
hospital the same way.
John went to a rough school. I went to a rough school. John went to a rough school. Did you feel anyway when you were going to Tilden High School, John? Because you went to my 11, and then from my 11 you went to Tilden,
Right.
right? Did you feel in any way that the magnetometers affected your ability to learn?
No, we didn't have McNally. We didn't have those things.
Oh, you didn't have those. Oh, so you just walked.
No, we didn't have.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have those.
Because I remember, you know, I remember at Lafayette, we had to check into the building when I went there for that first year. The point that I'm making, I always said this to people, and agreeing with you, Dr. Bryant. And hello, hey Simone, how you doing? Bless up. I haven't heard from you in a little bit. Thank you for joining us back. People always say that magnetometers and the police in the building scare kids. I've never heard a kid say that I can't learn because of the safety agent. I can't learn because I gotta go.
So true. Simone, you are right about that. You guys went to school.
I've never heard this crap.
What Simone said?
That we went to school in
Guys
dinosaur
went to
years.
school dinosaur years ago. Kids weren't.
Hey, you know what?
They
Tell
are.
Simone.
Simone, we went to school in the 80s. We went to school in
Tell
the 80s.
Simone.
Listen,
Simone, thank God we are still here to even talk about it.
that is
Thank
so
you.
cool.
We went to school in the 80s. I don't know what you're talking about between the fights at Tilden High School and my 11, people getting chopped up. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Zakia wrote, there's
We do discuss that as well.
Mhm.
We do. But they're in Dr. Bryant's school that her child attends, it was not racial. It wasn't about whites and black, right? The stabbing, there was a stabbing at the building.
Mhm.
And when they found weapons, they found a lot of weapons on students of color. So about the safety issue. So in certain states, you're right. The color component, the racial component is important, right?
But guess what? The shooting today wasn't a black person. The massive shooting several times throughout last year was not black students who did it.
Yeah.
So here it is. But if they had certain component in place, or if they had scanners, guess what? Some of those kids would be alive.
Yeah.
Massive shooting.
Let me. I would like to address something that go back to Zakia's comment before we go to Simone's.
There's a racial
There's
component.
a racial component. Go ahead.
Shootings that goes undiscussed.
There's a lot of truth to it, right? Because we know that on average, outside of John Anthony Malvo and his dad and Colin Ferguson back in the late 80s or maybe early 90s, the majority of mass shootings are done by white folks. Despite what people say, they're done by white folks.
True. That is true.
Right?
That is true.
And I agree. So we're both in agreement of that. But for the sake of this conversation, I do know black students who kill black students in school or Latino students.
Look at
one second, Dr. Ryan. For the sake of this conversation, we're not looking at the racial component alone. We're looking at mommy and daddy saying, my kid is not coming home. What should we do? Black, white, Asian, whatever the case is happening. You were saying something, Dr. Ryan.
Look, the other day, in Canarsie, I think 2 days ago, the young man who got shot outside of the building in Canarsie, young, I think he's 16 years old. He got shot in the torso. They took him to
Brookdale.
Mm-hmm. And then I was reading that he actually had a gun on him. So here it is. Where are these kids getting the guns from? White, black, purple, whatever. Where are they getting the guns from?
Good question, Zakia. You're bringing up a good point. Let me go to Simone's comment first, Andre, for a minute. Yesterday
There are
there were fights and knives, but I'm not saying no, but the fights were amongst whoever they had a beef with, not an entire school getting. Yes, and so that's when we talk about mass shooting and random shooting. I agree. Zakia, I want to address your conversation so you could put something up online. Why is it relevant who's the shooter? Because you are speaking about that it's not about the black. Well, Guy and Andre, right? Exactly. Well, we know where the whites can get their guns from. Well, they get it from home. That's easier accessible. Where do black students get a gun from? Dr. Bryant asked a good question. Black students get guns too. When I was growing up, when I was going to my 11, I saw young people with guns carrying it around. They're selling drugs in school. I saw it. I don't want to call no name because I'm on the air, but I saw my classmates with the gun in their waist, walking around with it in school. I mean, one kid had to throw his gun in the bushes by Avenue B
because he was
and 86. He had to throw it right in the bushes because the cop was coming for him. So
from the South, but here it is, that young man that got murdered this week. I don't know. The South, where in the South?
I think what she's saying is that because the South,
from Virginia and things like that.
I think what she's saying is like Southern and Midwestern states, the gun laws are laxed. So they travel across state lines with the guns.
Okay.
And then they bring it into New York.
Okay.
Right. But again, the issue that we're discussing is not about the racial. That might be for a good show, right? Why are so many white kids? What is the psychological makeup of the white population that they do mass shooting? That's a good combo, right? But as we say in Jamaica, one coca full basket, right? So you might do a mass shooting with 10 people, but if a gang kills one person today, another person tomorrow, another person next day, it's gonna add up to 10, right? Let's just be clear. Let's not just look at the egregiousness of a mass shooting and not look at the egregiousness of our own killing.
Yes. Of course, absolutely.
Because there might be a whole lot of mass shooting, but the raw murders come from black and brown kids. People, not just kids, but black and brown. The majority of the majority of murders come from black and brown males. The majority. Not even the percentage majority, but the actual majority of killings come from black and brown people. And the number one racial makeup of people who kill people, we're not talking about in schools, but overall, are black men. Number one.
So Zakia, shooter change the narrative. White shooters equals lone wolf. Mental illness. Black shooters a pathology. Oh God,
pathology of violence that is inherent in blackness. That's false.
Pathology.
Yes, that is true. Anger. White students are more angry, and when they want to go out, they want to take more people out. Because I've seen it. I've seen it with my white students. The black students just want to beat you, right? So they're gonna go after you because you made them mad. The white student is like, I'm mad at the world, so I'm taking out the world, right? Obviously not all, right? But it's. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm just concerned about the safety of my child going to school. Dr. Bryant is concerned about the safety of her child going to school, right? This, regardless of who the shooter is,
right?
You know, I had a student who got shot, right? It was another black student. The parent didn't care that the student was black. The parent cared that the child was shot. So those are issues. Anyway, I think that this is a good conversation, to have and open up some of the conversation. But I think we might have to have
also,
oh,
unfortunately, this week there was a teacher from the Bronx that got murdered, her and her children, by a former police officer who was the sergeant or captain in Westchester. So having a legal gun doesn't mean that people don't have mental illness either. He shot and killed his family.
I got you. Hold the thought. Go ahead, Andre.
Footprints Cafes now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouthwatering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. Our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions, real estate simplified.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call U.S. Bear LLC, 718-676-0519, and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros, because a successful business matters. U.S. Bear LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call U.S. Bear LLC, 718-676-0519, and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs, and U.S. Bear LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number?
Yes!
Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call U.S. Bear LLC or log on to www.usbear.com. Team up for success.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Just to remind you that the Grace Family Services will be here, open every Tuesday and Thursdays. Come on out and enjoy. Bring your elderly person down so they can enjoy a couple of hours. Officially will be open Monday through Friday in a couple of weeks. So those of you who have already started coming, that was great. 1330 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. Email to gracefamilyadult@gmail.com or check out their website at www.gracefamilyasdcare.com. Again, call 646-504-5778, or you can call 347-962-7168. Again, that's 347-962-7168. Ask for Cheryl Harden. Yeah, you were saying, Dr.
Yeah.
I was saying that the police officer, so you, all the time you mention, hey, you know what, having a legal gun or whatever, you can have those in a profession, those who have a legal gun, but mentally they're not stable, unfortunately. And that's tragic overall, because wiping out your entire family for one, you know, whatever moment, whatever might the thought triggered you to do it, but you just eliminated everybody. So
You want me to
But
read this?
Doc, you know, did you hear about the police officer in Rockland County who killed his family?
Let me read the story. Let me read the story to everyone. Thank you to WABC for breaking the news. 4 family members were found dead in Rockland County home early Saturday after an apparent murder-suicide. Again, with the damn murder-suicide. The deceased had been identified as a member of the Morgan family: Watson Morgan, 49, Ornella Morgan, 43, and her 2 sons, ages 10 and 12. So police responded to in Clydesdale Court in New York City right before 12:30 a.m. to perform a welfare check. All 4 members were dead. Other people in the community were commenting on it. So you had a Rockland County police police sergeant who Sergeant Morgan failed to show up for his evening shift on Friday, so their department contacted Clarkstown Police, who made the brutal discovery in the sergeant's home. A handgun was discovered at the scene. So it goes back to what Zakia was saying, right? Again, it's a white family, right? A white family wiping themselves out, the murder-suicide.
And you know what's sad is the kids, nobody deserves that. If you want to go out, like I say all the time, take yourself out. Don't take out the kids or your other family members, your wife and things like that, because you had a split moment or whatever. These kids didn't deserve that. The wife didn't deserve it. She was a school teacher in the Bronx, Roderick. So it is sad. And she was very involved in the community and the kids. They spoke about the kids, how polite and, you know, for life they were. And unfortunately, someone's bad decision and having a legal weapon contribute to the demise of an entire family.
You know, and it's sad, right? It's sad. It's sad about what happened to this family, you know. And another on a similar story,
but you know, it's mental health, mental stability, that all comes into play. You know, on the outside, a person could look happy, but in the inside, can be so depressed. And you know, I don't know, is it during the holiday seasons? It's a little bit more magnified. But you know, I'm thinking about the family up in Boston, husband and wife, daughter, you know, murder, suicide. You know, it's just now you look at another young man, a mass shooting in Iowa. You know, it just goes to what's the mental health of individuals, man. What can we do? I mean, how can we recognize these things? You know, how can it be more, you know, I just don't know. I'm perplexed, man, because if you look at this gentleman, you think, but you never know the dark secrets of someone's life.
Yeah, and that's sad. And you know, switching conversation, John, the horrible thing that happened in Newark, New Jersey, in South Orange Street there.
Oh man, that, you know, the imam, 6:15 in the morning, imam goes to praise, and obviously they say it could have been a robbery gone bad, but I don't think so. I think there's something more to that. At 6:15 in the morning, there was somebody lying and waiting for this imam.
They said that they said that it wasn't racially motivated or domestic terrorism, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like people know really what is causing the issue.
Oh, this was a second attack on him, Zakia? That's interesting.
On the same imam. I didn't see that anywhere. So thank you for bringing that up. I didn't know that. You know, and you're right, John. Right.
He was promoting peace.
The community is outraged, right? About what happened. And you know, this guy. And so, you know, Cory Booker and I he happens to be on my Facebook page, so we're Facebook friends. I've never met him. I don't know him. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, you know Cory." No, I don't. I've never met the guy.
He's a great speaker. He came to my school one time. When I tell you, awesome.
Right. Oh, so the first time he fought them off, and this time they came back with a gun. I don't know. Was it the same people? I don't know. And do you have confirmation it was the same people? So Cory Booker sent me out something about how horrified he is about what has happened. And, you know, one, you got to pray for the family. Two, you got to pray for, you know,
the community. And yeah, because it's like going to church and then it is the same thing, equivalent. You know, you're going to church and your pastor gets gunned down. You're going to a praying site, you know, it's just like a rabbi, a pastor is equivalent. That no matter what, if you are going into a sacred, safe space, you expect for everything to be in place. But now people don't respect safe sanctuary places, places of religion, places to worship. None of that is respected. And I think it intensifies.
You know, Dr. Brian, you talk about, like, you know, honestly, like there's no fear of God.
Right.
There's no fear of God.
You know,
meaning that you don't think that first of all, the Lord sees what's going on, and you don't think at some point in time that, you know, God is a great God, but God is a God of not understanding, but at the same time, you know, God is a God of fairness.
You know, I find, you know, I'm watching, right. I'm watching the some of the clips from the news and how a lot of people are angered. The community's angry about what happened, and I and what Zakia is talking about. Being a revenge seeker, you know, that's just, you know, outright crazy, right? Outright crazy about what has happened. I want to play tribute to somebody, John, that we both knew. I met him in 2003. Right. I met him in 2003 when I was then working on, at the time I didn't know that she was, but you know, family history showed that, you know, then council member Yvette Clark, who is my relative. And I met him at that time as, you know, he was a wonderful political strategist. He was a former chief of staff to Mayor Dinkins. He was a professor at Medgar Evers. He, you know, when he came to politics, he was a genius. And I think, John, at one time he had to work for you or work with you at the state Senate. And I'm talking about no other person than Dr. John Flateau. And he died December 30th here in New York City. And, you know, man of Caribbean descent, great guy. And, you know, it's, you know,
just overall, he was just an overall great human being. He was passionate not only about what he was doing, but he was passionate about people and making sure that people were represented in all aspects of their lives. So John was he was the epitome of a, as I would say, he was the epitome of a statesman. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't an elected official, but he was someone who understood the importance of the role politics plays in your life. And he did everything in his power to make sure that policies and things were put in effect that would benefit all human beings. So, you know, that's, you know, that is a huge loss for our community.
Yes, it is. And that's for the whole, that's citywide. That's actually not just citywide, but national. Right. And so, you know, our condolences go out to his family. I know his funeral is coming up January 10th here in New York City. You know, and so our condolences really strongly go out to him. And God, you know, God rest his soul. God may his soul rest in peace, and may his legacy never die, right? Because he's done a lot of things across. You know, I spoke to Dr. Una Clark yesterday, and we were just going over some of his accolades and how much of a great person he was in our society, what he has done. So, you know, peace be unto you, Dr. John Flatto. Today in New York City, there was a train
derailment.
Yes, right. And, you know, 2 trains collided and 1 derailed. As of right now, there's no report of death, but there are reports of 24 injuries. You know, it just happened on the Upper West Side in Manhattan,
96th Street on the 1 line.
right? And so, you know, thank God that there has been no deaths. As right now, they're talking about at least 24 minor injuries that might have happened as a result of the incident. You know, the trains ran in back of each other. So
I agree with you. Thank God there was no deaths. And it could have been worse. But thank God for that. I wanted to bring back a comment that Zakiya says the Black Muslim community is tight-knit and we don't play about our leaders, imams. Thank you for sharing that. And I wanted to add to that. I think, John, you mentioned that people don't have respect for God and in faith overall. People don't have respect for each other. They don't have respect for political leaders. They don't have respect for judges. Because I was watching the gentleman who attacked the judge in Vegas and jumped over and just started swinging. So there is a lack of respect in our community, in our nation overall. People disregard of life, disregard of political figures, disregard of churches or anything. So what do you think is going to cause people to have some form of fear? The only fear that I noticed recently and within the last 4 or 5 years was the fear of death from a virus, where people became a little more compassionate. But beyond that, after that, post that, it's just like, yes, I don't know.
I was watching the video with the judge, and I was amazed. First of all, I was amazed that he got that far.
Yes, he got that far. First of all, they were weak. If you're in the courtroom and you see, hey, they're sentencing this man to go to jail or whatever, and nobody moved anything in Vegas, where it's scary. And the reason why I had asked, I think Yvette Clarke before, and someone else, another politician that came on, it is a very scary time because the judge, remember the judge that they end up killing her son, are vicious. They are going out for, I don't know what it is, but like you said, Zakia, it is a mean spirit, but beyond the mean spirit, it is I don't know what to say, because the thing is, if you're not seeing what you want, even from words from the Harvard president, there was a billionaire that mentioned about white supremacy and they're taking over our race and things like that. There is a evil a evilness with things that's going on that people need to be careful and watch, pay attention, especially this climate. It's not a fear tactic. I'm not saying not the fear.
Dr. Brian, I have to sign off, but I want to concur with you 150%. And the one thing I want to leave the listeners with is the way the president had to resign at Harvard. Her at her congressional hearings, that was abomination. And she was more concerned about, being an academic and answering it that way instead of just doing it from the heart. But now to attack the woman's her education and her qualifications, this is something that we always continue to face. Everybody wants everything based upon merit, but when you look at what happened with the Navy Savings Bank and the way people are treated differently because of the color of their skin, we can't have no equality and anything based on merit when you still have racism and prejudice that exist.
Absolutely. And I think Zakia touched on that, although she didn't say it that way. But when we talk about the mass shooting, about the white versus the black and the different treatments thereof, and it's real, right? And so,
and it's more blatant in your face now.
Yeah, I didn't think any of those presidents should have resigned. I don't think so. I don't think any of them should resign. But they did.
But they just keep adding to it, like, oh, okay, we need to bring the person down more. We need to, hey, go this way. For a billionaire to state what he stated was beyond ridiculous. I feel like he snapped. The judge was being vindictive and flexing her powers based on witnesses in the court. His lawyer had advocated for him to get probation, and the prosecution was with it too. They didn't object to it. Well, here's the thing. His behavior showed he needed to be controlled.
Okay, so I want to add something. Zakia, I totally disagree with you. Yes, the judge was flexing her power. But if you listen to the words of the judge, this is not his first time in court. It was not his first time. Apparently, if you listen carefully to the words, he has been in court numerous times, and he just kept getting probation, and he kept coming back. So now you're going to say, I'm not giving you any more probation. Now you're going to serve time. And I guess he was expecting probation, right? A little slap on the wrist, and he didn't get it. Right? Yeah, the judge, maybe the judge rejected probation. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't like it was his first offense. And it didn't sound like it was his second offense or third. So that's a problem. Yeah, in New York City, we had it's not as bad anymore, but we used to let out criminals out of court with minor things, and they came out to become repeat offenders, and they were committing a lot of crimes. I haven't heard much about it within the last year or so, because it's how news work with the 50 minutes of fame, and that was the 50 minutes that was happening. but they were committing a lot of crimes. Zakir comment said, "That's not my feeling." Sharing what people, but again, people are gonna say anything, right? People are gonna say anything. I mean, I don't know how long the judge was gonna sentence him for, because it never came out, right? So it never came out like how long, but she says she's going in a different path. And yeah, the judge was a little condescending. I heard it as well, right? But sometimes you got to get that belt, right? You can't always have a conversation. Sometimes you got to get that belt, because sometimes a conversation, it just doesn't work. So you need that belt. On that same story, Armstrong, what's his first name? BJ. Let me just double check on that. He was moved to his fourth. He was moved to his fourth jail. Right. He was moved to his fourth jail after being charged for killing his parents. And you know why I thought this story was interesting? I got a lot of feedback from people when I said in Jamaica, the mother shot and killed her 17-year-old son. Here's a guy, right? Here's a guy who killed both of his parents. And you remember the Hernandez brothers back in the 90s? The twins that killed their parents and tortured and killed their parents. Here's the reality of the situation. I feel bad that mother killed that child. But when I look at the unfortunate things like what this kid did, right? What Antonio did and killed his parents, right? He's serving a life sentence in prison for killing his parents, Dawn and Antonio Armstrong, Antonio Sr., right? And he's going to serve a life sentence, right? He shot his parents to death while they were sleeping. What makes you think this kid wasn't going to kill his own parents, his own mother? There's nothing that indicates, right? There's nothing that indicates that the boy wouldn't have killed his mother, right? Right, and I mean, he has tried multiple times, actually 3 times in total. The first 2 ended in mistrial, and the third and final one, which happened in August, found him guilty of killing his parents. I mean, I'm not going to go with death penalty here because you had 2 mistrials, so there's something that happened in the case. But let's be real. These young people nowadays, they're violent and they're angry, and as bad as it sounds, when I look at these things, I think of the Hernandez brothers or Fernandez. I'm not sure Hernandez or Fernandez brothers. I think of those things, and I think of kids killing. I'm like my mama said, right? I brought you here. I'll take you out.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's terrible. It's terrible that these decisions have to be made. Right? And also, Dr. Bryant, last week you brought up a very good point.
What's that?
Was that did the parents, either the one in Jamaica, Antonio Jr.'s parents, did they ignore signs of the behaviors of their children? And what we do as Black folks, him just bad, he will grow out of it and not address those things. Sometimes there are no signs, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sometimes there are no signs. When I used to teach, I used to say to a parent, if I call you about your child, don't tell me I'm picking on your child.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to come up to school. I want you to sit in the class. You're not allowed to speak to the child. You're not allowed to say, I didn't say hello. Nobody should know that that's your parent. Right? Nobody should know. Observe the child's behavior. How much is the child taking notes? How much notes does the child take in your class?
Mm-hmm.
Is the child fidgety? Does the child want to go to the bathroom? Does he turn and talk? Does he mumble? And anything that child does while you're there, you gotta multiply it. If he doesn't know that you're coming and he's late to class, what does that tell you about his classes? If a teacher's complaining that your child is always late to class and you come to class and he's late. Now, I did have a little couple of violence who tried to address it like, Mom, you can't do that. Dad, you can't do that. But the reality is, were there signs for these signs for these parents?
So I have I'm gonna add on to what you just said. Remember the gentleman the cousin who ended up shooting the whole family? It was just before Thanksgiving in Far Rockaway.
Stabbing. No, I think he stabbed. Oh yeah, there was one where he stabbed and one where there was a shooting. I think there was a shooting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have things, yeah.
The history of this gentleman, he had a history of violence. But the mother was like, nothing was wrong with him. There's a denial, like you said, there's certain denial. Hey, my good boy, my, sweet boy, my innocent boy, or whatever. He wasn't innocent when he's choking somebody. He was not that innocent. No, come on. He killed the whole family and walked away, grabbed his suitcase because they told him to move. So, there's a sense of denial that people go through. I don't know when they're going to admit that something's wrong.
I lost a student in 2020, December 2020. And they had mental health issues, was killed by the police. And I always thought to myself.
The one on Utica?
Yeah. And I always thought to myself, they knew that he had mental health.
Mm-hmm.
How much help did he really get? I don't know. I was just wondering about that. I mean, I'm not passing judgment because I don't know if he got any help or not, right? I wasn't at this house, but I'm always thinking about that, because it was very close to me. Urge was somebody very close. I mean, he was in my office. We hung out, we talked, we played basketball against each other, and I didn't even notice. Right? Mm-hmm. I did not know. Right? Thank you, Zakia. Go back to your studying. Get your dissertation done.
Thank you, Zakia.
All right.
I want to add to that. There's a good thing that came out from the state today, that if you notice green siren is not the noise, but the light. That is an indication of someone trying to get to a person with a crisis. It's like mobile crisis for crisis. So you have to get out the way, similar to police. They won't have sirens. They're not running lights, but that is an indicator that you have to move, and they have seconds to get to an area that needs support as soon as possible. So it's great that they're actually, sending people out who are trained to support people with mental, that needs some mental support, or that's going through trauma or going through something that just need that additional, instead of just sending, if you call 911, you'll send police, but they don't know how to deal with that. So in crisis situations, to send the right set of people out and just to actually give them the support to say, hey, let's run to this area quickly, and allow them to have a way of indicating, hey, this is an urgent matter. That's awesome. kudos to New York State for doing that.
Yeah, and my friend, and I'm proud to call her friend, Assembly Member Chandler Waterman, came out with 988 and wanted to work with 988 to talk about mental health and mental
That's
health.
the
crisis.
number that you call instead of 911, right?
Yeah, when it comes to people with mental health issues.
Okay.
So kudos to her.
Yes.
A lot of things are happening as well. The Jerry Epstein list is coming out, right?
Whatever. I want to get back to interest. Jerry Epstein is dead. They're only letting out Trump
Okay,
and
wait, stop. I don't agree with you here.
Okay, but the list is not even completely out. So stop. It's just like, okay, when the whole list come out, then we could discuss that.
Why?
But partial, like,
So you don't think the fact that the partial list shows that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were part of this list, you don't think that's important?
Hillary Clinton, they said Bill Clinton.
They said Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Yes, Bill Clinton. Right.
Okay, so
Go ahead, I'm listening.
They have mentioned his name already, but we got more important things happening until the whole list come out. Then we could worry about that. Right now, our most important thing I think we need to focus on is the diversity issues that's happening. Here's the thing, billionaires giving money to, and I'm going back to Harvard, billionaires giving money to schools, but saying, hey, we want to eliminate diversity altogether, right? But get offended when they speak about anything that has to do with, we're not addressing anti-Semitic views, but eliminate diversity. And, we're being washed over by minority individuals. It's like contradictory all the way. Like we're weighing out this billionaire spew all types of garbage, but got offended because the president of Harvard did not answer the way he wanted to, but he feels that he has a right because he's given billions of dollars and money contributing, and that diversity should be eliminated from everything, from hiring, from so action. Let me read. So billionaire Bill Ackman is going to be continuing, accused Harvard of hiring Claudine Gale solely because of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative instead of identifying the best leaders for our prestigious universities. He further went on to talk about how they were whitewashing, eliminating white individuals who were more prepared for this. He was upset that they should have never hired her because she didn't express any anti-Israel view. He would not hire anyone of that sort. That shrinking the pool of candidates based on the required race, gender, and sexual orientation criteria is not the right approach to identifying the best leader for our most prestigious universities. And it's just like, wow. So first of all, it's implying that females, especially Black females, can't do the work. And going back to the white race, it was more racist, white supremacy spew he was bringing forward. So should a school continue to receive money, they were up, Harvard supported the former Gale. But should schools continue to receive money from people with with racist views? Roger?
I'm listening. I'm reviewing the article as well. I in America, if you say that Israel needs to stop the war because they are killing innocent people, you're anti-Semitic. That's America. If you say compare the Holocaust, which I don't think it compares, I think it pales in comparison to. But if you compare the Holocaust to slavery, you're anti-Semitic, right? Holocaust was beyond egregious, and by you bringing up slavery, you're undermining what the Holocaust was. The Holocaust did not cause 200 years of economic downfall in America. Right? It did not cause that. Because up till this day, a Jewish man can walk into a bank and get a mortgage easier than a black man. Right? It doesn't mean that the Holocaust was not tragic. It doesn't mean that you're undermining what happened in the Holocaust. Because the Holocaust in world history was a horrible, horrible incident that needs to be repudiated. And I'm glad I'm glad Hitler's dead, but I would rather that he stood for the crimes that he committed. But I believe slavery was worse. Right? Slavery was worse. For me to make that statement, I'm considered anti-Semitic. And I will stand by my statement, right? My Jewish friends, I'm sorry. Right? I'm sorry. So here's the problem, right? Because I'm going to talk out two sides of my mouth right now. In the United States, Black Americans are out of the top 10 groups in the United States. We have the worst economic worth. We make the least amount of money. We don't want to go to school. We don't want to read. And I'm not talking about people who didn't have the ability. I'm talking about the kids who are going to school. The kids who are actually in school. And you create pathways for them to learn and they choose not to learn. I'm talking about those people. Right? Because in every race, in every ethnicity, you have people who don't want to go to school. That's not, Next is Spanish. Right? Next is the Spanish. Next is you go down by race and you look at it. The highest, the number one, I feel don't count because they get reparation, which is the Native Americans. They do get you get land, you get this, you get all of these things. I wouldn't put them first because we know that's one race of people who actually don't go to school. So talking about two sides, but in America, blacks make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money, right? So you have, again, like I'm talking about two sides of my mouth, going back to Claudine Gay, right? We don't create the economic power, partly because of slavery and what he has transcended all the years. But secondly, because we're a little bit more flashy, right? I had a couple of rich friends when I was in college. I didn't even know they were rich, right? I mean, I eventually learned that they were rich. And I saw the difference. So one of the issues that we're going to have is when somebody, we, not me, because I'm not at that level, but when we decide that we're going to combine our growth and say to the Jewish man at Harvard, I don't need your money. Claudine Gay is quite capable of being the president of Harvard. Right? And I'm going to make sure that we can fund the school, or him taking away his $20 million or $30 million. We have it. We got it. We got it covered. And we're not there. Right? We are spenders. Our money go through our hands like this. We're the worst educated. We're the worst with economic financial literacy. Right? We're the worst with generational wealth. So those three things, we don't want to invest any money. We're afraid of life insurance. We don't create a will. Right? Because by creating a will, that means our family is going to kill us. So we don't do that. Or we don't want to spend the money to create the will either. That's the next thing. So the next generation will have nothing. So you're going to continue the cycle. So that's part of the problem. That's why she had to step down. Because the Jewish man had the power. He had the money. So she was beyond qualified. She was a professor she was a doctor for 28 years, 27 years. Right? Doctor of Education. She was selected. Right? So think about it for a second. What made her not qualified, Dr. Brian? Because she's black? Because she's a woman? And you know what's funny? I believe it's 3 women from these universities who they asked to step aside. 1 black and 2 white. It's very interesting. So
yeah, but the one who's attacked more is the black one.
Well, I don't know if I wouldn't say that she's attacked more. What happens is, no, I would disagree with that. And I'll tell you why I disagree.
Go ahead.
I disagree because they were looking for justifications for her to resign. She, with Claudine, the board stood behind her.
Mm-hmm. And also UPenn.
Right? Not UPenn. I don't know about UPenn. I don't know about UPenn. I'm talking about the lady at Harvard. Right?
Yeah.
The board stood behind her. So guess what they had to do? They had to dig. I want you gone. So I can't get you out of my first try because I didn't like what you say.
Mm-hmm.
So we stood there. So I'm going to dig more. So, and that's what they did. They kept digging and digging. Hey, if you dig into my past or dig into yours, you're going to find something that was shady.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? You can go back 20 years. I was supposed to receive a scholarship in my 9th grade year, my 10th grade year, to go into ABC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I was running for some illustrious office, an illustrious position, you want to get rid of me, you're going to go, oh, in 1988, Roderick Daley didn't qualify for a better chance because he was late to school. And guess what? He only lived down the block, 4 blocks. He walked literally 88, 87, 86, Ralph Avenue, 4 blocks. He was late 53 times. But he was smart. But we can't have somebody who leads us who's not punctual. They're not going to tell you that the following year there was a complete transformation. They're not going to tell you that my 10th grade year, right, that I had to go to school at 7:20 in the morning to go to math class. living in Brownsville, going to Bensonhurst, and I made it to school. So now that's the point with Claudine. That's why you're saying that, because they wanted to get rid of her.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to. The young lady from UPenn resigned. She just said, "You know what? You want me gone? I'm gone. I don't want to take this. My brother's not my back is not broad enough to handle this. I'm done." The one at Harvard says, "My back is broad. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep fighting." Right? And you know, they placed the white man, Alan Garber, in as as interim president until he's replaced. Right? So, her resignation was celebrated by the conservatives. Right? And they talk about it wasn't plagiarism. It was the fact that you felt like she was anti-Semitic. Call a spade a spade.
Well, they eliminated, eliminated the diversity, equity, and inclusion, affirmative action, basically. And we're noticing that less and less. I was listening to this morning. Was it yesterday? Yesterday. About affirmative action cannot be eliminated for schools, military schools. Everything else, they don't have to adhere to it. But military schools, they have to adhere to.
Right. And listen, I'm just sad. And I think, I want to go into something else real fast. And I should have done it a little bit earlier and I didn't do it.
What's that?
Inflation is going down in America. Right. Inflation was at 9 point something. Right. And it's down now to 3.1 in November, right? Which is the lowest it had been in years, right? The current inflation rate is 3.1%, which means that prices should go down, right? The prices should go down.
They're not going to do that.
I propose that in America, and by the way, this is Roderick's Corner, might not be the view of the village, so I'm just going to put this out there. I think America should work in a boycott. Take a day of boycott the businesses. The CEOs are making billions of dollars while the people below are hurting. If inflation rate can drop 6%, that means that mortgages, housing, as John spoke about earlier in the show, cars, food,
everything needs to go back down.
Everything needs to go back down. But do you have these greedy CEOs who say, hey, they were paying this price at this rate?
Just like congestion pricing should go out the window.
Yep. Right? That's another thing I'm going to talk about.
Well,
right? We need to have a national day of boycott, and we need to pick the businesses that we're going to boycott. And let these businesses know that and I'm going to start with food.
MTA.
No, I'm going to start with food. No, I'm going to start with food. I think that, wait, hold on. I think that we should boycott the supermarkets. Like a national day of boycott of the supermarket. And I'm going to figure out a date. I'm going to put it out there because we cannot sustain as Americans these high prices and maintain our families.
Mm.
We just can't.
MTA.
Right? And I'm thinking like in May, a day in May, we're gonna do that. National Day, Rich gets
And we start walking.
right.
Go back.
Right. We don't need to walk. We just need not to go.
Yeah, not on MTA.
Right. You don't go to the supermarket. Make it look empty. Let them lose money. We are serious about what we want.
We're
we want to finish up with
pricing. Ridiculous.
This congestion pricing, just like the cameras.
It's all over. A block from each other. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. From a street from each other. It's ridiculous.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to say enough is enough with certain things.
Middle class. Come on, man. Who's paying for this?
One, congestion pricing in New York City is literally saying that Manhattan is for the rich and the other boroughs are for the poor, so stay out of Manhattan.
Because Staten Island is crowded. Coming from New Jersey to
Yeah.
Staten Island is ridiculous. It takes over an hour.
I have to now go to Manhattan to the hospital and I drive because I can't be on the train. You're going to tell me who can't afford it on a regular basis that I need to pay congestion pricing?
$15. And if you don't have Easy Pass, is $22 by mail.
Right? So think about that. How are Uber drivers going to sustain that? How are people who are like me, who's going to Sloan Catering?
What about
teachers? How about teachers going to school? How about principals going to school? How about police officers going to work?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You give them a little raise in one hand and then you take it back in the other.
Yep.
Right? That is not fair in America. The cameras
The
in
dollar that came, the minimum wage, the dollar's gonna go towards congestion.
It makes no sense. So you give $16 for minimum wage and then you charge $15 for the toll.
And let me tell you, it's on every 2 blocks. You'll see the camera on every angle. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
How much are you paying congestion pricing from street to street? It don't make sense.
Yep.
Instead of investing all that money on cameras and things like that, let's invest it in making sure that the train runs correctly so there's no accidents.
And you know what? The top brass of the MTA.
Who's paying for that?
The top brass of the MTA makes a lot of money.
Yes, let's lower. You know, why don't he take a pay cut?
Actually, he doesn't need to take a pay cut. He does not. They actually at the MTA just have to revamp how they spend their money.
Yep. Because people are getting paid and they're not even there. It's so crazy. People who are on vacation are getting paid as though they're there, overtime and everything. And guess who's paying? We are. That's not fair. It is poor management from top down.
I think that people need to come to a better understanding of what this means. And you know what I have a problem with?
It's the poor and the middle class that's paying for this crap.
You know what I have a problem with? I have a problem with healthy people not allowing for the time to go out and argue these things. Just like,
you know what? They're not going to. They made their decision already. That's the problem. They made their decision. People.
I don't know that they just made. Hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Boycotting works.
Yeah, boycott the MTA. Period.
Boycotting works.
Yeah.
Like you know, everybody calling sick. Everybody who works in Manhattan calling sick for a day.
Right.
Right. MTA It's done.
National Sick Day.
Right. A national sick day
against congestion pricing.
People will stop. Let me tell you something. Once the CEOs hurt, Martin Luther King is my favorite person in terms of activism. Being passive aggressive. In your face doesn't always work. Passive aggressive works more. You have a sit down. You don't go to the supermarket. You don't take the buses. You stay home. You call in sick. Like the bosses allow you to work virtually on this day. Right? And so MTA would suffer. We're running out of time, and I want to make sure that people know that in New York City, they're discussing mayoral control.
Yes, come on out.
And we're talking about it. And there are a couple of, I just said, we might have missed it on congestion pricing, but you might not miss it in mayoral control. So there'll be a couple of hearings coming up in New York City. Dr. Brown, do you want to go over those dates, or you want me to read?
Sure. The first one is January 11th, which is next week, Thursday. It will be at Boys and Girls High School. And that's
Make sure that you're listening to The Village while you're at Boys and Girls High School. Go ahead.
I won't be able to do that. I will not be able to do that.
Everybody else, put on your phone.
So it will be at Boys and Girls. The doors open, I think, at 5:00. So please go to the state website. Actually, go to the state website and register if you want to send your comments. They are taking information up until the 31st of this month. So please, 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 it is important that you come out, you speak. Think about what's happening overall. We want to hear from parents. We want to hear from teachers. We want to hear from administrators. We want to hear from students. You know, those who were there before mayoral control, those who were there after mayoral control, those who are there now. And think about the 32 district before. The reason why they had 32 district history going back, it had to do with race. So that's why the 32 districts were formed in the 1960s, when certain white teachers did not want to work in Brownsville and areas like that. So there was a boycott. They created 32 districts. And with 32 districts, you have 32 different ideas and people running it. So with mayoral control, it's only one plain district. You do have 32 separate districts, but it's one person that's accountable for it. The next one, January 11th, like I mentioned, it would be from 5 to 9, and that's at Boys and Girls High School. Please come out on Thursday. And on January 18th, which is another Thursday, it's going to be at the High School of Fashion Industries, which is on 24th Street in the city between 7th and 8th Avenue.
I think it's 23rd, but you have a son that your daughter.
23rd.
Okay, it is 23rd.
Oh, no, 24th. I'm correct. 24th, because it goes up. And then on the 29th, we'll be in Staten Island. I forgot the location, so forgive me, but it will be in Staten Island. I will share it with Roderick where he can post it up on the 29th, which is on a Monday. So come on out. We were in Bronx. We were in the Bronx before. It started in the Bronx. Then it went to Queens. It was in Queens last month. December was Bronx and Queens. Now Brooklyn is your turn to be heard. Come on out. Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Staten Island, come on out, voice your opinion. It's not about the mayor. It's not about your personal opinion about the mayor. It is about the school district, about the children, about how it's run, and how everything is going. So think about that.
All right. I'll leave you with, just want to say, make sure I say shout out to, again, Happy New Year to everybody. Hey, Maureen Campbell, thank you for joining us. Hey, Stargirl Brown, Dr. Zakia Ali, everybody else who has been on, made your comments. I just want to say appreciate it. And yes, Stargirl Brown, boycotting works. And I'm just going to think of the date, and then maybe we could start spreading the word that we begin to boycott. I really think we should start with
boycott congestion pricing. It is garbage.
Yeah, we would have to see how that works, and businesses would have to say, "Hey, I don't want businesses to hurt, but maybe they do a virtual day, like a virtual Thursday, a virtual." And so MTA will not make any money, and they will know that we're serious about congestion pricing. God bless each and every one of you. I'm looking forward to seeing you another day. And we'll definitely have more to talk about. And remember that we will rejoice in thy salvation, and in the name of our God, we will set up our banner. Thank you for watching, viewing, sharing, participating on The Village. And thank you for subscribing. Hit the subscribe button, and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube at The Village Radio Talk Show, where we're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining us. And don't forget, January is Andre and Roderick's birthday. So we're going to celebrate this month. Come on, people. Come on. So have a wonderful week. We're starting off. We're pumped. And Roderick, you got to get...
I'm going to have a birthday. I'm going to have a birthday. I'm going to have a birthday.
Andre, our producers, Andre, thank you. And Sophia, thank you. We're praying.
Sophia, also, we're praying for your before we forget, praying for Sophia's dad. And Sophia and family. So she couldn't join us today because she had some personal things to work out. But please pray for her and her family as she tried to as they're working through things with the family.
Yes. And remember, January, Andre, our producer, Andre, and our host, Roderick. That's their month, 17th and 25th. Here we go. See you, everybody. Bye.